Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we've got a kind of part Danish, part American, part Swedish beer to have a look at, and this is a kind of follow-on from a review I did a couple of videos back. So for this one we've got another collaboration beer between Omnipollo from Stockholm in Sweden and Evil Twin Brewing, who started out as a Danish gypsy brewery and are now based over in Brooklyn in New York. So the last video I did that was kind of like this was the Pink Lemonade IPA, and today we're going to have a look at the Old Fashioned Lemonade IPA, which also comes in at 7% ABV, and it's supposed to be a really interesting beer. I have to admit, I did enjoy the Pink Lemonade IPA, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. And you know, when it's Omnipollo and Evil Twin that are involved, you know you're going to get a pretty good quality beer. So looking forward to this one, and as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So as usual then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Evil Twin and from Omnipollo. No doubt there will be more for both breweries in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for the Swedish, Danish and American beers that I've reviewed for you. Those are constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Evil Twin first off then, because they are the ones who actually brewed this beer. So Evil Twin are a Danish gypsy brewery that was founded by Jeppe Jarnet Bjergso, who's the twin brother of Mikkel Bjergso, of course, the big boss over at Mikkeller. He founded the company back in 2010, and he was largely inspired by the lack of craft beer that was available in Denmark at the time. So Jeppe began homebrewing in the same beer group that gave birth to the Mikkeller brewery, and then he went on to found his own shop in Copenhagen called Ølbutikken, which is still there, but I believe it's under different ownership now. But he also started an import business that was attached to the shop, and he used this to import American beers into Denmark. And he later decided that it would be fun to sell his own beers in the shop, and he also distributed the early Mikkeller beers there as well. So Jeppe agreed an import deal with 12% imports to send his beers over to America, and he decided to move over there with his wife in 2012, and he based the company head offices in Brooklyn in New York. And of course their beer now is brewed at a variety of host breweries, some of it in Denmark, quite a lot of it in America, some of it in the Netherlands, and I believe for a period some of it was also brewed at Brewdog in Scotland as well. So they brew it all over the place. Most of their beers, from what I understand, are brewed in Connecticut. I forget, is it the 2 Cent Brewing Company up in Connecticut or something like that, but they do brew most of their beers in that kind of New England area of the States. So they do quite a lot of different beers. They're kind of well known for their Even More Jesus and Molotov series and things like that. They do quite a lot of nice big alcohol beers. So if you're into the big boozy beers, Evil Twin are a brewery that you definitely want to check out. So if you want to read a little bit more about them and have a look at the different beers they have, check out the brewery website in the description below. But anyway, on to Omnipollo then, so the Swedish side of this beer. So Omnipollo was founded back in 2011 by Henok Fenty, who was a long-time homebrewer, and Carl Grandin, who was a clothing designer actually, not a homebrewing designer. But the two met one day and they decided to start a brewery together after they discussed how kind of insular the craft beer scene was in Sweden and further abroad. So they thought it was really kind of logical to actually, for a clothing designer and a homebrewer to get together, because they wanted to reinvigorate the scene from both a kind of stylistic and a kind of gastronomic perspective, if you like. So they thought this partnership was very, very logical. So the name Omnipollo is derived from omnipotent chicken. So Omnipollo, pollo of course is Spanish for chicken, and these guys are gypsy brewers. So they have no real brewery of their own, and they brew at a variety of host institutions. I believe they brew a lot of their bigger batch beers like the Nebuchadnezzar, that's brewed in Belgium, I think, at the Proefbrouwerij in Locriste Hefte. They brew a lot of their big kind of beastly stouts, I believe, down at the Dugisbryggeri, which is near Gothenburg actually. But they currently export their beer to around 30 or 40 different countries, and they're continually expanding that. And they also have the Omnipollo's Hat in Stockholm as well, which is a collaboration bar they have with Pizza Hut, which does a lot of nice pizzas, and you can find most of these kind of big beast Omnipollo stouts and things on tap there. So if you find yourself in Stockholm, that's definitely a place that you want to check out, and I'm going to go and check that out sometime in April actually, so you might see a wee Omnipollo's Hat video appear on the channel in the future at some point. But yeah, these guys are quite a prolific brewery as well. They're always producing different things. The ice cream series has been a really notable one recently. They're constantly expanding that, so make sure you check out Omnipollo as well. Check out the brewery website and stuff in the description below. And what's really interesting about these guys is that they brew a little bit with flavour essence, from what I understand. So they've got really nice base base beers, then they kind of complement them with a little bit of flavour essence. So it's a really kind of interesting and quite unusual style of brewing, if you like. So definitely one that you want to keep an eye on, and probably one of the best known Swedish craft breweries these days. But anyway, that's all you need to know about both the breweries just now. I reviewed quite a lot of beers from both of them, so make sure you check out my other reviews as well. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So like I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 7% IPA, or a sour IPA, I guess you can term this one. And one thing I should have pointed out in the Pink Lemonade IPA, or I think I did, but I wasn't too sure, the guy who was on the front of the Pink Lemonade IPA was actually Carl Grandin, and this is Henok Fenty, of course, on the front of this one. So it says here, a refreshing drink often associated with childhood nostalgia, to others a pop cultural symbol of emancipation. Whatever the association, we teamed up with the good old Swedes Henok and Carl of fashionable Omnipollo to squeeze out a tasty, tempting and deceivingly well balanced IPA with sweet and sour notes of old-fashioned memories. Perhaps you can taste the dishonesty, it's all over your breath. It's lemonade, brewed by Evil Twin Brewing. This one's brewed at the Dorchester Brewing Company in Boston in Massachusetts. So yeah, really nicely presented. This one very similar in style of artwork to the Pink Lemonade IPA, of course, and there you can see Omnipollo at the top and then Evil Twin Brewing as well. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. This should be a good beer. Looking forward to this. If I can actually get the can open. There we are. You can smell some of that lemon, that kind of tart lemon sharpness off this beer when you open it up. Special shout out to Jesse in this video as well. He seemed to enjoy my review of the Pink Lemonade one, and he said that he drinks the shit out of this. So I'll give a shout out to Jesse in this video, since he seemed to enjoy this beer for so much, and he's been a long time supporter of the channel, so a big shout out to Jesse then on this one. So as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice, quite bright, almost kind of matte yellow colour. You can see there's a half finger of a frothy white head there, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of the head. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there that the beer isn't really transparent at all. It is pretty much completely opaque, but you know, looks really nice, very much kind of like what you would expect from an IPA or a kind of sour IPA. Some of the best sour IPAs, incidentally, that you're going to get from Sweden do come from the Dugges Brewery, so make sure you check them out if you are into your sour beers. And Temple Brewhouse as well are doing some really nice stuff. But let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on. So yeah, with this one, and I think I said the same about the Pink Lemonade IPA as well, it doesn't have the most pungent of aromas. You know, you can smell a little bit of that kind of lemon sherbet sort of almost lactobacilla, Brettanomyces kind of thing coming out of this, but it's not too pronounced. There's a bit of floral aromaticity, there's a little bit of kind of lighter grassy bit from the hops and things in this one, but the lemon kind of tartness to this isn't too pronounced, and that was I'm sure it was the same with the Pink Lemonade beer that we reviewed earlier. But you can smell a little bit of breadiness in there. I want to say there's almost a little bit of oaty character coming out of this, which is quite interesting. But definitely lemon sherbety notes. When you take it in quite deeply, you can really smell a little bit of that sharpness there. Some nice grassy notes, a little bit of floral aromaticity, like I was saying. And then you've got that nice bready, but I definitely think there's a little bit of oaty sweetness to this. And maybe there's almost a little bit of a kind of biscuity, digestive biscuit quality as well, which is really interesting. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beers when you try them. That's always half the experience when it comes to craft beer and sake and whiskey and stuff like that. Really, really nice. Just kind of mix of aromas with this one. So yeah, just take a little bit of time to enjoy that. It's a really nice, quite fresh aroma, but it's not the most pungent one that you're going to come across in terms of Omnipollo or in terms of Evil Twin. But yeah, let's get stuck into this one then. So this one's the Old Fashioned Lemonade IPA, a collaboration brew between Omnipollo from Sweden and Evil Twin, who are kind of Danish but also kind of American. So let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually, I have to say. I'm interested to know how they do that. I mean, it actually reminds me a little bit of, I think it was Mango 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 from Dugges Brewery. It's almost got the same feel as that beer had. I mean, and I'm sure I said at the time that Mango 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 was one of the best, it was probably the best sour IPA or sour beer that I tried at the time actually. And this one does actually feel quite like that, except it's not quite as punchy in its flavour. This one's just meant to be a nice kind of sessional beer. It's almost got a little bit of a kind of New England IPA quality about it. It's almost like a sour New England IPA, this one, if that makes sense. And I think, if I remember rightly, I did say something similar about that Pink Lemonade IPA, but this is a nice beer. I can see why Jesse really enjoyed this one. It's a nice, easy-going summer IPA. There's no two doubts in my mind about that. If you get the chance to try this, have a go at it. It is, I think the best way to describe this one is like a New England IPA with sort of lemon juice or a little bit of kind of Brettanomyces or something added to it. It's really well done. It doesn't kind of blow your head off with hops or anything like that. It doesn't blow your head off in terms of the sourness. It's just a really nicely balanced beer. So yeah, 7% as well. It hides its alcohol really well when it is starting to get slightly higher in terms of IPAs and things like that. Although the high part of an IPA really is about 8%. It's about 9% or so where you start to get into imperial or double territory. But that's a really nice, refreshing beer. Ideal for the summer. No doubt in my mind about that. But yeah, sorry, blabbing on a little bit. Let's examine the flavours. So yeah, with this one, there's a little bit of a bready base to it. I definitely think there's some oats in here. It definitely has that nice kind of oaty sweetness in the middle of your palate. There's almost a little bit of a biscuit there. If you just go right down the middle of your tongue, there's almost a line of just a sweet, slightly biscuity character to this beer, which is really nice actually. I do like how that kind of comes across. It's just really, really well done. Everything blends together really well. There's a little bit of bitterness in this beer as well, so in the back corners of the palate, there's maybe a wee tiny touch of a slightly sweetish earthiness, maybe a little bit of noble character or something like that. But as you come forward along the sides of your palate, you can feel there's a nice little bit of floral character there. It's not too spicy. I'd really be interested to know what hops they've used in this one. It almost does have just a little bit of a noble quality to it, which is quite interesting. It doesn't have quite the spiciness of some of these big American hops, but then again, that might be suppressed a little bit if they've added lemon juice or something like that to this beer. I'm not sure whether they will have been taking the Omnipollo approach of adding kind of flavour essence to the beer, or whether they will have gone the kind of natural way and added the fruit to the beer. In terms of the mouthfeel, as I always say, the way to kind of distinguish it is with the mouthfeel. It does feel in the mouthfeel that a little bit of the IBUs are suppressed with some kind of juice. So maybe they've done a little bit of both. Who knows actually? They've probably just played about with it and seen how it comes across. But yeah, you get a little bit more of a floral character on the sides of your palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter. It's almost a little bit lemongrassy actually on the front curve of your palate. But as I say, all of these flavours just blend together really, really well. That's what this beer is all about, I think. So yeah, nice little bit just behind the front curve of the tongue. That's where you get this nice kind of oily bubble that comes out, and that's where you get the fruity esters. Definitely a lemony character coming out of this one. I would really be interested to know what hop they would have used for that. I think Centennial is one that gives you this really nice sort of a lemony sherbet character, and I do wonder if that's one that they have actually used in this beer, because it's got that, as I say, that's got that really lovely lemony character. So if any of you know about that, actually do let me know when it comes to that, because that would be interesting to know for kind of home brewing going forward. But I do suspect maybe there's a little bit of Centennial being used in this one, but this beer has come across really, really nicely. As I say, it's a big, fresh kind of summer beer, and I do like that sort of sour wetness that this beer has along the sides of your palate. Everything just goes together really well. I think in terms of the flavour, it's good to describe this one with a little bit of a New England IPA base with some of that sour IPA quality. That's probably the kind of crossroads that this beer goes for. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I'd say it's at the bottom end of mid-bodied. Carbonation is quite soft. It's a mixture between an oily and a wet mouthfeel. There's a good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. There's some tartness in there as well, but not too much. It's not too overpowering, and the malt base has a little bit of sweetness there. Both a little bit of oaty character and a little bit of biscuity note as well, and overall it's quite smooth. I would say this is an ideal summer drinking beer. and I can see why Jesse enjoyed it so much. So I'm glad that I got to have a look at this one as well, and I'm sure I could do a 6-pack of this one. Of course, we don't get the 6-packs in the same way that the Americans do in Europe, but this would be an ideal sort of 6-pack beer for those of you watching over in the States. It's it's just an easy drinking one. So if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. It's been really a kind of treat to review this. If you're watching from Europe, probably the closest beer I can think of that you're going to find to this one. It's very similar to Mango, and probably some of the beers that you get from Brewski as well. Some of the more kind of sour IPAs with the Brett and things in them. It's a little bit kind of closer to that in that regard. It's almost like their IPAs, but just with a little bit of that kind of lactobacillus Brett kind of thing added to it. But really lovely beer, and I'm glad I got to review it. So I think that's a good way to sign off on this one. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my other reviews from Omnipollo and from Evil Twin. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from both breweries as well. But thank you once again for watching my beer reviews, and until the next time, check out the social media, subscribe, all that usual thing. But until then, Slanger just now, and I will catch you soon. The Old Fashioned Lemonade IPA, a collaboration between Omnipollo from Sweden and Evil Twin, originally from Denmark, but now from Brooklyn over in New York. Slanger just now, and I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.